thing does come in that are percentage-wise to their size as bad or worse off, and that's Nevada, which is in the worst shape, and Arizona.
One of California's biggest costs, by the way, is its prison system. Housing inmates here cost twice the national average. And now hard-hit Michigan has prison beds to spare. Governor Granholm has sent Governor Schwarzenegger a letter offering to take some of California's excess capacity.
We've paroled about 13,000 people through our prisoner reentry program. We're seeing a reduction in the recidivism rate.
This is really all about jobs for us. This could save jobs for many of our employees.
Jobs for Michigan, lower costs for California. Aaron, a delegation from the Golden State will be heading to Michigan in a couple weeks to check it out. Back to you.
All right, Jane, please stay with us. We want to bring in former governor of California, Gray Davis, and counsel at Loeb & Loeb law firm to break down what this IOU economy means for California. Governor Davis, let me just ask you, my question's a specific one based on Jane's report. Housing inmates in California cost 2 times in California the national average. Why is that?
That's a very good question, and I think we ought to explore that opportunity with Michigan. I know on health care costs, we have a federal receiver that is requiring health care costs far beyond what a lot of citizens get in this state. So I think there are savings to be had in the prison system as well as other parts of government.
Jane? Governor, you were here during the last recession in California. This situation is far worse. What would you have done differently this time than Governor Schwarzenegger?
You know, there's so many changes, Jane. Going forward, I think we need to have a spending limit so we don't overspend in good times, a rainy day fund so there's something we can draw upon in bad times, and the biggest elephant in the room is a 2/3 vote. There's only 2 states in America that require it, and they have nothing in common with California. So we ought to have a majority vote like 47 other states do to pass a budget and like the U.S. Congress does.
Governor, I know you've been passionate about those issues. A final question, these IOUs Jane's been reporting on. I know it only has happened one other time after the Great Depression. So we're going to have vendors and people that work for California really accepting IOUs, or are we going to have riots in the streets?
Well, the one other time I happened to have been the controller, and I was issuing those IOUs, and the banking situation was far different. The Bank of America was the predominant bank in California. They agreed to accept them for at least 30 days. I'm not sure how many banks are going to accept it, as Jane suggested, but the people affected will be people getting state welfare programs, student aid, students going to college, cities and counties, vendors and contractors. So you can't ask those people to work for nothing, and there's got to be a way they get compensated.
Jane?
I was just going to say that. What about the state pension situation, the public employee pensions? That seems to be the other big gorilla in the room. Do you endorse the governor's idea of going forward, lowering the benefits packages to state workers?
Well, on a prospective basis, I think everything should be on the table. And the bottom line is we ought to have the best government the public is willing to pay for. And the only good thing that's coming out of this discussion is that we have to rethink what we're funding and make choices. I like to say when you go to a restaurant, you don't order everything on the menu. You just order a couple things. Government seems to want to order everything on the menu, and we've got to come to terms with that.
It's a good way of putting it. Governor Gray Davis, thanks very much from both of us for joining us.
Thank you, Aaron.
And next, Jeff Bezos betting $10 million of his own money. The manufacturers need an eBay of their own. He's putting it into a company. What is that company? We're going to give you the inside story on today's Tech Effect. And of course, we will be celebrating that special anniversary of the cassette. We'll be back.
The clock is ticking. The 72-hour sale is on with 0% APR for 72 months on select '09 Chevy models, including Impala with an EPA estimated 29 mpg highway that's better than a Toyota Avalon. And now get 0% APR for 72 months on any Impala with an average finance savings of over $6,200. But hurry, time is running out. The 72-hour sale ends Monday. See your local Chevy dealer.
Home likes a solid foundation, a hopeful future. At Bank of America Home Loans, we're helping thousands of homeowners refinance to get the stability of a low fixed rate.
anywhere near an operating room, near an intensive care unit, and probably in ambulatory surgery centers. Again, though, as you mentioned, the use is restricted to people who are trained by their experience to handle airway emergencies, to handle overdoses. And in general, a physician who isn't an anesthesiologist or an intensivist really doesn't have a need to use that drug.
There's also a